Here's another question that I am receiving a little more often lately. People want to store more stuff in their attics, and they want to know if they can move some of the stuff around. Well, hopefully by the time you're done watching the video, you will have a little more information about that. Let's go ahead and look at a purlin. Purlin usually sits on a wall. Sometimes the wall will be a non-bearing wall. It won't be designed to carry much of a load. So you might here we actually have the ceiling joist breaking over the wall. So this is a load-bearing wall. But you might have and it's not uncommon. I see it all the time. You might have a brace on, let's just say, this wall over here. It might actually be in the middle of that, and that's not uncommon. Is it something that can create problems for the building? Yes, but most roof framers seem to they're not concerned about it. The purlin brace nails to the rafter. You can see it attaching to the wall and usually has some type of a block to support the purlin. Now I do have other videos on this. Go to the website, check out the design tab, click on the engineering link, or go to the building tab, click on the framing link, and you might find more information about purlins. I have made a few videos on that because it seems to be a question that just keeps popping up over and over again. The purlin system cannot be less than 45 degrees, so it cannot be 30 degrees. It can be 60 degrees. It can be more than 45 degrees. Now, the one person that asked the question, they wanted to know if they could remove the purlin that's angled and run something vertical. This is the main reason why I'm making the video, just to give you an idea of some of the stuff that could happen if you do this. So Another thing that I see a lot of is someone wants to build a wall. Hey, I'm going to build a wall, put it on top of my ceiling joist. This will be great and really strengthen the roof. And you're probably right. It will strengthen the roof, but it's going to also be putting additional weight and loads onto the ceiling joists themselves. Ceiling joists, so the weight from the rafters is going to transfer to the ceiling joists and then down to the walls that the ends of the ceiling joists are attached to. I hope that makes sense. So something like this isn't always going to be a good option because the ceiling joists might already be at their maximum load bearing capacity. You put some more weight on it and then you are going to create problems, maybe a sag in your ceiling. Is the building going to fall down? Probably not. You build something like this and you remove all your purlins and redo it and stuff like that, you might not have a problem. If you live in an area where it snows, you might want to contact someone who does know what they're doing, and or an engineer, something like that. You live in an area where it doesn't snow, you don't really have a lot of weight on the roof, something like that, and that might not be as much of a concern. Here's the vertical wall I was referring to, and you can see here it is not bracing it up over here, it is bracing it up over here, and this could actually be a problem. So before the purlin was angled, and I just want to pretend like, let's just say that this board is 10 feet long to make it easy on us, and before the purlin was in the middle, right at 5 feet. And this would be transferring some of the weight from each side. So we would have a purlin to where we would have 5 feet on this side and 5 feet on this side. And that would be helping out the rafter. The span of the rafter would be basically 5 feet. And if we move it to somewhere like here, this might only be 3 feet and then 7 feet. Well, the 3 feet's going to be a little stronger now, but the 7 feet's going to be a little bit weaker. And that's kind of the point I'm trying to make with the video. Once you start moving some of this stuff around, and your rafters weren't designed to support that much weight. They are, let's just say they're 2x6 rafters, and they're 20 foot long without any purlins. Or let's just say that they're 20 foot long, and the span for your area, for your design, a 2x6 can only span 16 feet. Well, if that's the case, you'd better make sure that your purlin does not create a length more than that, the distance, 16 feet. Otherwise, you're going to have problems for your rafters. So I hope that makes sense. So moving purlins and putting walls in, building walls on top of the ceiling joist to support it. I think I've provided you with enough information on what you shouldn't do. Rafter spans are going to be important. Where do you get that information at? Go ahead and type in rafter spans in a search engine and you'll probably come up with something. Whether or not they're going to be right, that's totally different. And again, if you don't know what you're doing, this is something that, hey, you're watching these videos so you can learn what you're doing, then you might not want to make any modifications to this area. And again, like I said, keep in mind that I know a lot of people store stuff in their attics. I've done it before, but they're not designed most of the time to store things up there. So if you are going to modify the building and you're going to maximize your storage area, put a lot of stuff up in there, you could actually be creating some big problems. So that's the main point I'd like to make at the end of this video, is if you don't know what you're doing, you might not want to do it. Hire a professional. You might want to talk to an engineer. And you also might want to consider the fact that these areas are not designed for storage. They're just designed as part of the structure, and not, you're not going to be putting a library up here. You're not going to be putting a bunch of car parts up in these areas. And I am not kidding. I have seen this too many times, and I've seen the lumber fail and the structure actually sag. I've seen people load their attics with enough weight to where the ridge actually sags, and it actually pushes the walls out in some cases that weren't built properly. But the rafters sagging, ceiling joist sagging. And how do the rafters sag, you're wondering? Because people actually take a brace and they attach it to the ceiling joist and then attach it to the rafter, hoping to use the rafter to create some additional strength for the ceiling joist, which is now a floor joist that they're storing stuff on. And then when the floor joist fails and it sags, it pulls the rafter down with it. So I hope that makes sense there too. So anyway, good luck. Any questions, feel free to send them. And if I missed something, feel free to leave your question in the comment area. And again, for the professionals out there that watch these videos, I really do appreciate any comments you make that contribute to the solution and not to the problem, of course.